Will disclosure of the ET presence ever happen? Tune into my talk show, Universal Talk, Saturday, November 28th, where we will explore the evidence. We welcome Mr. Stephen Bassett, forefront advocate for the ending of the government-mandated embargo on the truth of extraterrestrial presence on Earth. Mr. Bassett is the executive director of the Paradigm Research Group and the Political Action Committee, XPPAC. He is the creator of the Paradigm Clock and executive producer of the X Conference. Mr. Bassett will discuss the evidence of actual ET presence. Tune in and check out our findings on Universal Talk, Saturday, November 28th at 10 a.m.
What makes you so convinced that there are ETs present?
Well, the same reason I'm convinced the world is round.
Okay.
And rotates around the sun. The evidence is overwhelming.
Right.
It's, in fact, the evidence, in my opinion, was pretty much confirmatory in 1948, 9. I mean, what was going on had no other explanation but extraterrestrial at the time.
Right.
And would have been quickly resolved as such if the government hadn't made a formal decision that this had to be contained.
Right.
But since then, in the 62 years since Roswell, the evidence is just piled on top of each other. And it's massive, and if you don't look at it, then you don't know that. If you do, you do. It's that simple. But the truth embargo has been extremely effective, and it's been able to prevent that evidence from being converted to public policy. But if you could spend months examining the evidence for this issue,
right,
reading the witness testimony, reading the contactee testimony, months and months and months. For those who say there's no evidence for the ET presence, they might as well be saying there's no evidence the world is round, and I just can't waste my time with them. I have other things to do.
So, in your opinion, then, with what you have read, Mr. Bob Dean was on the show here a few weeks back. Do you know of him?
Oh, I know Bob. Yes, of course.
So, he was in cosmic top secret clearance in the military himself. He had some experiences. Also, Richard Dolan was on the show, and he's written a few books in these regards. So, if you know their work, do you agree with anything that they say? Like, as far as like Bob Dean, he has said that ETs have been here since we've been here, and probably before that. Do you agree with that?
Well, again, get close to that mic, friend. Bob Dean and Richard Dolan worked very hard to try to provide the best explanation of what's going on. They're both researchers. Richard is more of an historian. And I have great respect for both of them and their work. I mean, particularly Richard Dolan's work is outstanding.
Right.
2 volumes of his trilogy are out. The third one is in the works. These are going to be important books.
Right.
If they have mistakes in them, of course they do. But it's the best compilation so far of this period between 1947 and the present. Bob had the security clearance. He worked at Shape. That's well established. And since then, he's developed theories. Nobody knows for sure how long the ETs have been engaging us. But the theory that they have been engaging us for a very long time, I think, is a very good one.
Right.
And I think logic and common sense and some evidence points to the fact that the involvement goes back very far. But exactly the details of that involvement, well, it's going to take us a good while to figure that out.
Right.
But I think Bob is certainly, making a good case for that connection, and we need to know about that connection. I mean, that's our history. That's who we are.
Right.
The sooner we get to it, the better. And the exploration of the history of this issue and the connection between us and the extraterrestrial reality will not truly get underway until this truth embargo is ended.
So, do you actually think that disclosure will ever happen, even if by accident or from another country? What do you think is going to happen?
Disclosure is inevitable. Disclosure is inevitable.
How soon do you think?
As the acknowledgement of the Copernican worldview. The world is round and it goes around the sun. And the idea that any nation, any religion, any group somehow, quote, prevent the human race from knowing that formally was a be. But they did try to a limited degree, not much success. And so disclosure is inevitable, and the only really question now is when.
Right.
And the evidence, to me, is clear indication that it is very close. So it's inevitable and close. I think the last remaining issue is what damage may occur, what waste may occur, what bad things may happen while we continue to dawdle on this. The world is complicated and dangerous, and I believe that the truth embargo is no longer an asset. It is a liability, and it's preventing us from moving forward. It's preventing us from dealing with a whole range of issues which need to be addressed. And so I believe now every day, others would disagree, but I feel strongly that every single day the truth embargo remains in place, damage is being done to the human race